Well, vive la France! The star and executive producer of the new CBC drama Saint-Pierre, Allan Hawco, is my guest this week. Hear him next on Brio TV, le podcast. Hi, everybody. Bill Brio here. Thanks for joining me today. CBC's TV season really starts in January, and among the big shows that are launching this winter is the new police drama, Saint-Pierre. And no, it's got nothing to do with Polyev or Justin's dad. Saint-Pierre and Miquelon are the islands off the coast of Newfoundland in the Atlantic that are a protectorate of France. I visited Saint-Pierre a few years ago when another Newfoundland-based series, Hudson and Rex, shot an episode there. It's basically a small island with a school and a church and a harbor and a bakery selling delicious French bread and pain au chocolat. There are even genuine gendarmes walking the beat along the streets. A couple of thousand French citizens call this charming but isolated place home. Now, Hawco, of course, is from Newfoundland, and that's where he spent 6 seasons shooting Republic of Doyle. The more he thought about Saint-Pierre, the more he thought this would be a great place to set a very unique crime drama. Joining him on this series is French actress Joséphine Jobert, who some might remember from Death in Paradise. She plays Deputy Chief Geneviève Archambault, a Parisian transplant who is in Saint-Pierre for her own intriguing reasons. She must welcome Royal Newfoundland Constable, I can never pronounce this word, Constable, Inspector, Donny Fitzpatrick. After he digs too deep into a local politician's, I can't pronounce politician either, nefarious activity and is exiled to work in Saint-Pierre and Miquelon. The series premieres Monday, January 6th on CBC, and it is in the best possible time slot right behind Murdoch Mysteries. I spoke with Allan face-to-face in December during CBC's winter press launch in Toronto. We only had one mic, but thankfully you could hear him much better than you can hear me. As we begin, he tells me what sparked this idea of shooting a police series in Saint-Pierre. Here he is, Allan Hawco.
My first experience there was 22 years ago. It was
really?
Feature.
Well, of course, you're so close.
Yeah, well, we have a real relationship with Saint-Pierre and Newfoundland where it's a part of us and it isn't.
It's like 24, 26 miles from...
Yeah, or 30, I can't remember exactly.
Right.
And it's rum running tradition, a lot of like smuggling stuff, a lot of cultural stuff. It's really, they get their healthcare, a lot of their healthcare or their groceries or supplies. Like we're all connected. There's a real connection there where we're a lifeline to each other in cool ways. And we've always been associated with each other through the fishery and smuggling, whatever.
Right.
So it's kind of like a cousin of Newfoundland. We're a cousin of them.
Right.
That's kind of how I describe it to.
You're both way out in the Atlantic.
And we only have each other.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as you can go.
Yeah. And they're really, really vulnerable because you were there. It's
a reef.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
When you think about it. Yeah. So anyways, 20 odd years ago, I did a feature there and directed by John Batcher.
Really?
Ian Batcher.
Oh God, you guys, eh?
Yeah. Ian Batcher was a 15-year-old operator.
That's fun.
Ian's our DP. Our cinematographer for this show.
Yeah.
20 years later, John and I went over to Scout Critch. And a group of us, of course. Mark, a number of us went. It was summer. Mm-hmm. So when we shot the movie, it was in February.
Mm-hmm.
It was summer while we were scouting. Went over in a Zodiac because we couldn't get over there. Travel, shooting schedule.
What's a Zodiac?
Oh, it's like a speedboat.
Okay. Right.
Like a safety speedboat.
Okay.
Like made of rubber.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like a Hardy. You see them. They kind of have big.
Yeah.
Pontoons on the side.
It's like a catamaran kind of thing.
Yeah, but more robust, right?
Right.
And built for speed. So we did that in the middle of the Atlantic. So we took the Zodiac over and all the fog. And then when we landed there, it was like summer. There was like a mist in the sky. It was like, and I had never really seen the place. And I was like, they got stamped our passports on a boat, side of the boat. We didn't go through customs because we pulled up by the wharf with a random Zodiac guy dropped off.
But it's real. It's a French.
It's you're in international waters. It's
so you need
EU.
a passport. Yeah.
You're in the EU.
Yes.
You enter the EU.
Yes.
You pass the passport set.
Yeah.
And you are there. And I was just mesmerized. And I was like, oh my God, what is this place? And then you get deeper into it. And we scouted. So we're walking, doing a full walking scout. Dan Murphy's leading. And I was really kind of speechless, and I was really kind of messed up. And I couldn't tell why. And then later on in the day when we finished our scout, we were having a beer, and I was like, we've never fully utilized what's possible here as a location. This is really special. What is this place? Why is this place? What is going on?
Yeah.
So we were there for a couple of days, and I was obsessed, and that's where this idea was burning in my brain. Those the kind of kernels, more than the kernels. It was really, I was seeing like a full concept of it.
Always as a cop show?
Yeah, exactly as we are, but not as layered yet, because Robina and I weren't doing it together yet.
Right.
But it was like the real beginnings of two of them local. She's local. He's RNC, his backstory of why he's messed with the premier, all that stuff. Why he's, banished to Saint-Pierre, why he's got to lay low there, all that.
And he doesn't speak French.
Doesn't speak French because I don't speak French. And how am I going to...
Are you learning?
When have I had time to do that?
Well, you're kind of immersed. You could be picking up a bit of it by this point.
No, I lived in Montreal for 3.5 years.
Right. You can be in an English part of Montreal and not be as immersed.
It was tough. It's tough for me anyways, and with the workload. Like, I was joking with Joséphine earlier. I opened Duolingo because I started right at scratch, and I was like, I'm going to try to do this to impress her every day to make her laugh, really.
Yeah.
And I'd open my phone, and I'd be like, oh, shit, I got to deal with that. And then an hour and a half goes by, and I'm like on the phone, and I'm like, what was I doing? And then I'm just busy. So that was like, what was it? It just was, it just captured me, and it captured my imagination, because you can't force a show idea, and you can't do a show just because you want to do a show. You've got to want to do the show.
It's authentic. It's a real place. Yeah.
And the show idea was formed from that place.
Yeah.
In that place.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
No bullshit.
Yeah.
It happened right there. And I was like, oh, that's tingly. And it's funny, I did that. Sherry White asked me to do this thing for the film school in Newfoundland to interview David Shore. Yeah. Because he came down to do a talk. So I did my best you impersonation and interviewed him in it was a real inside industry conversation. So Sherry wanted me to showrunner.
David Shore did House.
Right? Yes, and The Good Doctor.
And The Good Doctor. And he himself will introduce himself as the second best writer from London, Ontario.
Who's he saying?
It's David. It's won 2 Oscars. Oh my God, I can't remember the film with Clint Eastwood and the woman who was the fighter, the boxer.
Yeah, can't remember him.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but anyway, it's an old reference now, so never mind. I'll look it up.
That's funny. I can't remember the name of that movie either, and I'm just trying to gloss over it because I have lost my memory today.
Me too. All right.
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank, yes.
$1 Million Baby.
$1 Million, very good. All right. Which of your prize is a hat.
So, sure, I never met him. I'm a huge fan, obviously. He's a legend. And we start talking for a few seconds, and he's like, my son's writing a show. His son's a screenwriter. No surprise. He's writing a show about Saint-Pierre. And I was like, Hawco.
Really?
He was like, yeah. He was too slow, wasn't he? I was like, yeah. And he was like, so what's the deal? And I was describing the buzz, the vibration, the feeling.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, that's how it happens. You feel it, and it's there, and it's not. And it was just, I had that feeling with Doyle too. Look, I don't know if people are going to like this show. I can never anticipate that. I'm not being high on my own supply. I don't know. I'm in love with what we did.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we got to do it. I'm grateful that we got to do it. More than grateful. For a million reasons. Most notably, I just felt like I really wanted to make this show and tell the story and the story of these people in this place. I really wanted to. And who knows how it's going to be received? I can't control that. But I got a feeling the same way that with Doyle. With Doyle, it was agony for years. I had that idea. And I didn't know what to do with it because I'd never really written yet. And I was 19 or something.
You're a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, someone's going to do it. 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 And they were, boy, like you'd see flares go up where you'd be like, that didn't quite work.
What were you, like 27 by the time you got to do that show? Or
32.
Really?
32 years old.
Wow.
Did the pilot maybe.
Yeah.
And it's like first time, blah, 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 all that stuff. But the vibration was epic, and it was the same feeling. Same feeling with Cot, same feeling when I know I'm about to do something as an actor that feels right, a play, or it was just one of those feelings that just was there. And I don't know where that comes from or what that is, but I feel like it's like your own instincts going, no, this is something. And then, you feel like you're seeing Saint-Pierre everywhere. Ads for the first time in my life, tourism ads. Waking up on the plane, flying over Saint-Pierre and seeing it constantly, shit like that. You're like, I don't know what this is, but I know whatever it is, I need to follow through with this and see where it goes. And here we are.
Yeah, like it's no matter where you are in the world, there's an odd corner that is a TV show, right? It's just, so you're introducing people, and TV's borderless now. So you're introducing people in Iceland and
that's right,
Germany to this corner that they don't, and so they'll be intrigued because they didn't know this existed, right?
It's almost like those YouTube travel thingies. It's like a reason to expose people to a new thing, but it's also like, why? Like, why are they here? That's the other thing about Saint-Pierre. Like, why are these people here?
Right.
Why is he here? Why is Sean Gallagher here?
Right.
Why is Arch here? Like, it just gives you questions.
And the deal, from what I understand, is that in France, I don't know how many, if it's like 1,000 people could be promoted to live there for 2 years in a rotating basis. There's some pool of people that are eligible to sort of, if you want to live in Saint-Pierre for a while, you can. Is that how it works?
I don't know, and I didn't delve into, because of a number of reasons. I didn't delve too deeply into it because I didn't want to start airing their laundry or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there.
Okay.
And they're very proud of where they are and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Then there are people that are from elsewhere. I do know about the gendarmes. So the gendarmerie are the police.
Yeah.
So we fictionalized the police force because the gendarmes have a 3-year term limit. No locals are in the police force. They are all from elsewhere.
France.
From mainland France, yeah.
Right.
So that is interesting, and it makes a lot of sense because no way can this become corrupt. But you can imagine what a fiefdom someone could create there with international access to trade, people, whatever, smuggling.
And that will be a story at some point.
Well, for me, then I was like, well, that's too difficult for me. No locals. So what would happen if it wasn't? What would happen if there was a local police force? And then what could someone do?
Yeah.
And that's where my mind went immediately, the opposite of where it was. So that's why we fictionalized the cops. That's why we created our own police force. That's why we have potential corruption within our force. That's why we have a fiefdom. Because the access point and the opportunity of that place to go to the EU from North America is... I mean, nobody who's watching.
Right. No one's going to call you on it. Even allegiance.
No, I mean, like, who's watching the border of that place?
Well,
if you wanted to run away with it.
Yeah.
Turns out they are. But in our show, what if they weren't? That's my thing. It's a fictionalized version of Saint-Pierre.
Yeah. But even like Allegiance has a Canada's national police force. It's not the Mounties. They've changed it to something else.
Yeah.
For the convenience of letting their imaginations go with that and not being handcuffed to something.
Our CMP are also impossible to clear. They are really, really difficult.
Okay.
I never, ever could clear them. So you'd say the feds are here.
Okay.
You never
knew that.
Like on Doyle, the episode with Russell Crowe, like they're all supposed to be federal cops.
Right.
But their badge, no, we don't show it. He shows me their badge and I'm like, oh. But
interesting. Never knew that.
I couldn't get it, but conversely, RNC, Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, gave me their trademark twice.
Really?
And the only 2 times it's ever been on television or used.
Wow.
To my knowledge.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was really important to me that they did.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with Allan Hawco. Good news, Star Trek fans. Paramount Plus Canada is boldly going into 2025 with the premiere of the original movie Star Trek Section 31. The shot in Toronto feature stars Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh as Emperor Philippa Georgiou, so great as that kick-ass character in Star Trek Discovery. Here, she's tasked with protecting the United Federation of Planets. She must also face up to the sins of her past. The movie premieres Friday, January 24th. As for right now, all 8 seasons of Dexter and Dexter New Blood are available for Paramount Plus subscribers, along with new prequel series Dexter Original Sin. As for the kids, look for Henry Danger, the movie, premiering Friday, January 17th. It's based on the hit Nickelodeon live-action series. And remember, with a mountain of entertainment to choose from, there's always something for everyone on Paramount Plus. Well, we hear a lot about fake news these days. Well, here's some real fake news. The acclaimed Australian drama Fake premieres with 2 episodes starting January 16th on Super Channel Fuse. Magazine writer Bertie Bell meets successful grazier Jobert on a dating app and believes she's found her perfect match. But as the relationship intensifies, she begins to feel her boyfriend isn't all he has led her to believe. Inspired by Stephanie Wood's real-life memoir starring Asher Keddy and David Wenham. And good news, Hearties. Season 12 of the hit series One Calls the Heart is up and running now on Super Channel Heart and Home. The new season brings new stories about family, community, and of course romance as things move further into the 1920s. Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie will guest star in a 2-episode arc this season in the role of Georgie McGill, who shares a surprising past with one special Hope Valley resident. And remember, Super Channel is available via most cable providers across the country, as well as streaming live and on demand with Amazon Prime Video channels, Apple TV Plus, and Fubo. We're back with Saint-Pierre's Allan Hawco.
And Perry's part of this too, right?
Yeah, Barry's co-creator and writer on the show. Yeah, and producer.
And how does that work? Do you guys huddle over each script? Like, how does that break down? You write?
Robina and I are co-show running.
Right.
So Perry's not show running. He was a part of the original creation of it. He was a writer of it and a producer. He also spends a vast amount of his creative time with Mark and Tim on Critch.
Right.
Because we divide and conquer that.
Perry Chaffe.
Yeah, Perry Chaffe, yeah.
I loved his book.
That's great, hey?
It was really heartening. Yeah, very sweet book.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk to him about it or anything, you should. It's he would love it. Did you?
Well, just when I was in August, I was in St. John's talking to Mark.
To Mark, yeah.
So Joséphine has a wonderful edge in this. Like, it really, you need that combustible element, right? That the two of you bring to it.
Yeah.
You recognize that before you even started shooting, I guess?
No.
So it developed while you were producing?
No.
Well, okay. Am I just imagining it?
Nope.
Okay, then.
Tell you?
Yes.
No, I love that you see that. Here's the cool. So, Robina, I got to talk about Robina at some point.
Yes, please.
A lot of special people are part of this thing, but Joséphine, Robina and I start working together after I have the idea. Perry and I and Janine and Aaron pitch it to the CBC. They go into development. I'm like, we've got a black female lead. We're not having two white guys write that. It's got to be, we need someone who can represent authentically. But it can't be because. It's got to be right, organic. I don't know. Robina and I knew each other a little bit. Sherry Elwood suggested her. So how's this going to work? It's either going to work or it's not going to work, or we're not going to do this. Like it's not. We're not going to chase something to get it made, you know?
Right.
And Robina and I were like, boom. She loved the idea. She loved the idea that I wanted it to be a diverse woman of color as my co-lead. She wanted that to be make a choice. So we were like, okay, boom, we're in. Creatively, we're on the same page. All the same old shows, all the Brit shows. She's like has the same sensibility but different. Her take on those same sensibilities. So Arch Fitz, we start breaking into it. Who is this person? The network too, CBC were really invested in Arch, and not again inorganically. They were like, if this is what you want, it's not quite there yet. You need to dig into it. So we really, really kind of went in through the fabric of who this person was and found what we thought was this edgy, fiery human being who's like, that all edge and fire comes from something. If there's a reason for it, and we kind of really played with it and mapped it out. But then you're like, who is going to play this part?
Right.
So specifically a black female, specifically French,
right,
educated in the UK. Who is that? Like, it's a really...
Yes, you've narrowed the pool.
And I don't know why we were like, that's what we're doing. But I didn't want to be a white producer chasing an idea to get something made.
Right.
Oh, that could be... Like, Robina and I were like, no, that's what it's got to be. It's like, make choices about people. Give them, people who are not represented, an opportunity, but let's not get into it. Let's like make these characters authentic and make sure that it feels like we're doing it from a story perspective. But you got to plant a spike in the sand and kind of make a choice, right? Yeah. So potentially paying yourself in and potentially create a lot of problems. Turns out a lot of actors were, we had a lot of amazing options for the part. Not all of them were from France, but some of them were, and they were excellent. But it wasn't right. And I'm in love with actors, so it's really difficult for me to really, at a certain point, be able to separate myself from that conversation. Because if an actor is truthfully there with me, I'm like, okay, that's it, you're mine. If you've let go of this stuff and you're with me in a scene and you're not pulling something or trying to play something, or you're actually actively a part of something and have done the work, I'm in. So it's hard for me to see that.
And are you doing all these live or on Zoom?
We did both.
Okay.
Yeah, and we did in-person auditions for the people at the real top level.
How does this work, a chemistry read on Zoom?
So we get past that, and then Joséphine is in France.
Okay.
She auditions.
All right.
She's got a Zoom.
Okay. That's where you first saw her.
I saw her first tape.
Okay.
I think she did too.
Okay.
And then we Zoomed. And we were like, everybody was like, what just happened between these two people? The network, fifth season distributor, fifth season we're super keen on her anyways. Robina had her picture in our original Bible.
Her picture, specifically?
Joséphine's picture, which I didn't even see.
Wow.
Or I didn't remember, that kind of detail for me. Like, we went through so many different pictures. I couldn't remember who we ended up in there. Anyways, no bias, no nothing. We had a list of incredible choices of talented people. But it was Josie. So to answer your question, no, that whole thing was an idea of what it might be, but then she brought it. She is it. So I don't go in there kind of going like, well, it has to be played like this to the director, or
right.
Let's see where it goes. And it became her, and it became Arch, and all that stuff. We had notions of where that might go, and Robina might have had more thoughts about it, but it really just was what she brought to it, and then what we were doing together.
A lot of attitude.
Sorry for the long answer to your question.
No. It's all good.
Yeah. It was lovely. It was like, it's like but it's rooted in truth, because it's like, well, who is he? What is he doing here? Is he going to mess up my plan of what I'm doing here? What is she doing here? What is she doing?
Well,
all by saying hello,
Yeah, that's amazing. there's a scene early on. You're walking along one of those streets in front of those colorful houses in Saint-Pierre, and there's a little dog on the cobblestone street. Was that animal trained by Sherry from...
Damn right.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
Hudson and Rex has this wonderful dog trainer, Sherry Davis.
Yep.
And
Sherry and Victoria came and brought the dog and did the work. And
it's spooky when you start to recognize
a dog trainer
who the animal studied with.
That's true. I should have been more impressed by that.
Oh my God.
Back with more from Allan after this short message. Hollywood Suite rings in 2025 with a killer collection of film and TV shows premiering exclusively this January. Programming highlights include Season 2 of Irish mob drama Kin, the ghost hunter comedy Don't F With Ghosts, Killer Genes, and the slasher film Slacks. There's also the premiere of a new episode of the Hollywood Suite original series Cinema A to Z, focusing on apocalyptic flicks. Catching up with the Irish crime drama Kin, it stars Charlie Cox from Daredevil. Season 2 sees a new threat for the Kinsella family in the shape of a ruthless, bullying agent of chaos. And no, despite the description, the series has nothing to do with this month's U.S. presidential inauguration. So yes, the new year will kick off with some scary good times. These titles and hundreds more will be available on Hollywood Suite, with the first episode of Kin available now. And we're back.
Take us through the season. Is it 10 episodes?
Yes, sir.
And does it have an overriding art? Is it a procedural or a serial or both?
Yeah. Did you see one?
One, yeah.
So each episode is a contained episodic show, and then procedural, and then there are serial elements to each season.
And does it build to a season one climax, cliffhanger kind of thing? Yeah.
I think I know what you like, and I think that you'll appreciate how we took, at least how we were aiming for it. How you feel about the execution of it, I don't know, but.
All right. Well,
did you like the first episode? Can I ask you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I told you that right away.
I know, but I'm just asking you straight up.
No, I did. It was atmospheric. It made me feel I was there.
Did you know who did it?
Did I know who did it? What do you mean?
Yeah, the murder. Did you know who did it?
No. No. And I'm not the best detective. I do get fooled, but it was intriguing.
That's a good name for a show. Not the best detective. He does get fooled.
Don't be fooled by the white beard. He's not the best detective. But do you have models in mind? Like, I'm thinking there's a great show now, Slow Horses from right, with another Canadian. Graham Yost is part of that mix.
I know him.
Right?
Isn't that great? Isn't he the best?
He is. And that cast is like yours. There is a diverse group of misfits in that case. But that makes it's just multicolored in the best sense of the term.
Yeah.
And I think...
And you never notice it. It's just people doing the thing.
It's just people.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's the same with her in this show. Like, it's all...
And you know what? When we went to Saint-Pierre for that summer, and then we went back for another scout, there's so many Europeans there.
Yeah.
And they spend years at a time. It was so multicultural and diverse. Like, go to the grocery store, there was almost no white people there. I was like, this is incredible. That changes, I think, depending on the month.
Right.
Because I think people might go back to France for the winter, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's like that transient thing where people are there sometimes and not there, the idea of anyone could be here organically. No one felt like, if you drive that far through rural Newfoundland, like the wettest place in the world, and then you end up in a place that's filled with a multicultural European vibe.
Yeah.
that was the premise of it being like, this can be anyone. These people can be anyone. They can be of any ethnicity, and they can come from anywhere if it's right. And that you don't want to, I personally don't want to be a white guy trying to force that in. I feel like it should live.
No,
but it's important.
How the world is.
It totally is. Yeah. And it's
no
like,
matter where you're at now. And, we just moved up to Orangeville this year, and it's,
that's where Robina lives.
Is it really?
Yes.
You're kidding.
No. That movie theater, she wants to screen it there.
That little theater on the main street?
Yeah.
That's like a church now?
You got to talk to her. She is, I'm not pitching your job to you, but she's an unbelievable person.
I would love to talk to her, and I want to team up with her to take that theater over so I can show my films and she can have her premiere, because I think it's wasted. It's got the marquee and everything still there. She
wanted to do our January 6th launch there, and I was like, I can't. But
it's too small. It's too far.
But
they've got a great opera house there, though. That's got a really nice space for presentations. Anyway, we'll talk Orangeville later, but even a little town like that is a changing part of Canada.
Yeah.
Like, everything is changing. So it's refreshing to see this.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I know you didn't cut me up. I was just jumping on that. Like, it's not something you want to, you don't want it to be, you just want it to be fair, and you just want people to be represented, and you want people to watch the show and be like, see themselves, and you don't want it to be like a lecture. And, I don't want to lecture people in the programming and the shows I'm making. I want people to be drawn in by the plot, the struggles the characters are going through. I like to be in them sometimes because I really love doing that job, Yeah. But it's like anyway, that's a whole other conversation. It's like something to be like that we think about a great deal in terms of like what we're trying to accomplish and how to be. The mistakes that I made in the past too, like
really.
Yeah.
From things you learn from Doyle, next time if I do this, I'm going to do it this way?
Well, maybe not in the moment, but afterward being like, oh my God, like how many women were in the writing room and how many women were producers on the show? And how many men were around? And
there you go. Yeah.
Stuff like that, and it's like stuff you didn't know you were supposed to be thinking about. And then you go like, oh shit, I had a chance to actually contribute and make a change. You were so busy trying to keep the lights on, you forget that you were.
Now here you are. Now you are.
Right.
I love some of the dialogue. What I like is this idea that it's bilingual. So you're hearing her French, and then you don't speak French. And so when she says Gallagher is a top-tier dickhead, you're getting the translation, and then you're getting the line. That's a fun little writing device, right?
We love throwing things that I like to say in Josie's. Allan likes to say. Me and Robina have a lot of fun with that, where we're like, he's a total tool.
Yes.
Like, throwing stuff. Because,
what is the translation to total tool in French? I don't know.
But she gets to take, how it is when first thing you do when you learn a language is like, what are all the cool things you say? So like, and Archika's got so much edge on her that she's not afraid of saying anything.
Right, right. One of my first jobs was at the Blockhouse restaurant in Ontario Place, run by all these Greek guys, so I still know 15 Greek words what I'm supposed to say. And a lot of it too shot in the water, right? You guys are on a boat or something like that, which gives you a whole other surface and look, which is kind of unique.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at you like, practically how hard that was to pull off.
Yeah. Is with sound wise.
Just money is cost, safety. We had to bring our full boat safety team and boat and safety boats,
and those guys, you have to bring them there, I guess,
because what's the infrastructure there? We did have a boat safety team, but there's a volunteer group of people, and they have to be water safety for the whole island, so can't tie them up or have them on call. They were there for us quite a lot, but it's like you couldn't rely on them because that's what they do.
It must be fascinating for you because there wasn't really much infrastructure in St. John's when you started out.
Very similar.
Now you're doing this here where it's even more remote.
Yeah.
What's next? Are you going to find like some part of the Antarctic and start a movie studio? Or
just in caves, just going in old abandoned mine shafts.
Good for you, but that's a lot of work, man.
Well, it kind of is like a community because that crew that we started with on Doyle are all with us. Well, majority are with us doing this show.
Yeah,
and they're all keys. And
John direct. Who do you have some?
TJ and John directed the first 4.
Yeah,
and I mean. and then Winnie John and Vanessa Matsui directed the next block. John ended the season.
Nice. John Batcher.
Yeah. Who I did that movie with 22 years ago in Saint-Pierre.
Yeah, incredible, right?
Yeah.
You guys had a beer over that, I'm sure, at the end.
We almost didn't. We did.
Yeah.
That's not true. Yeah. We actually had a cry, not a beer.
Yeah.
We had it was like, wow, we're still doing this. And this crew and this group of people have grown with us. And
yeah,
this community is now like a whole thing outside of us. And I'm outside of them. And we don't know each other or anything. Like, our approach as a production company is like, you don't have to work for us. If you have a better job and that's better for you, you have to do it. And if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. I'm still going to hire you. Like, there was a real mentality in the old days. It was like, if you leave us, you're screwed.
Right.
Like, I am like, we'll find someone else. It's okay. You want to grow. Now this whole crew, and a big part of it is thanks to like Pope and Christina and Rex.
Yeah.
Because after we finished Cot or Little Dog or whatever, people had no jobs. And then Rex came in, and then all these people were elevated. Ian became a DP. And Christina Jennings really broke Ian as a DP. He's my favorite DP.
He's Shaftesbury, Christina.
Yeah. And like, and they're my competition. My quote unquote competition. She's like a mentor to me, and
she's the smartest person in television.
I
all around the world she sells.
I love her. And like they came to town, and I was like immediately like, what do you need? Like, I need you to stay open for business in Newfoundland for as long as you can.
Well, I took the hop on, hop off bus. I had half a day at St. John's before I went home. And there's a bus full of tourists, and a lot of them were there because they'd seen some of your shows or Hudson and Rex, or, like, it was really interesting. That was the window to it.
It matters, right?
It does. Totally. It's a culture. Quickly, you're also producing on Malcolm. Or on Son of a Critch.
Yeah.
Must be pretty proud of that show.
Of course I am.
What a incredible. Quickly, your best Malcolm McDowell story. Is there a quick way to tell one?
Come on. Fuck. We're done. We got it.
I just did a travel piece with him for Zoomer magazine, and he talked about the Naval Club up the hill, the 59 steps to the Crow's Nest.
Yeah, the Crow's Nest. And Mark used to buy me a membership to that every year, and I'm like, Mark and I go anyway. Yeah, no, Mark's obsessed.
Mark's obsessed with this place.
Yeah, I am too. I just am. Anyway, there's a whole other thing of like, when do I have time to go to the? It's a real gentleman's club too, right? It's a real old man gentleman's club for.
Opened in 1942. It was a World War II.
It's got a real U-boat. What do you call them?
Yeah, Periscope from a sub that was in the harbor.
It's in there.
What else you watching? Are you watching a show now? Is there anything you got time to look at?
Yeah, like never stop. Like, I'm sure it's all the classics of whatever you're watching, but it's like Slow Horses. I'm just started the new season of Slow Horses. I just started the first. The new Dune show. I
haven't seen that.
Didn't think I was going to like it because the movies were Snore City for me.
Right, yeah. That's good. Huh?
The first movie was great, but I saw it on an IMAX, and I might have had a gummy. And I don't do gummies. So
Gummy Dune sounds like an Australian war epic.
It was pretty... I would do that again, but the second one I was like, Jesus. They're just talking in dark hallways and dirt and covered in dirt and drinking their own urine. But it's just too gross.
It's enough of that.
Yeah, but the series actually has has some real legs to it. I've been watching a bit, you name it. Like
Just a minute.
I burned through that in the first night. The Old Man season 2, loved that show.
Oh, with what's his
Jeff
name?
Bridges.
Yeah, wow.
On Disney. That show was sick. I rewatched season 1 to that's the thing now, you got to wait 4 years, so you got to rewatch the first 2-3 seasons before you can remember what the hell you were talking about in the first.
Because especially the writer's strike, everything was 18 months later instead of even 12.
Yeah.
And so, it's a long time.
And those shows, they take their time anyway, so it's like, they're like, what else have I been watching? And I've been really into what's on Apple now. I loved Nobody Wants This. I loved on Netflix. I loved
Did you happen to see Franklin on
No.
Apple? Because it's this 8-hour, 8 different movies almost, but it's bilingual to the core. It's so French. It's incredible. Like with this subtitles and dialogue.
Yeah.
And
Michael Douglas.
he's
Right?
amazing.
Yeah, I didn't really have enough to go.
It takes forever. It's so much to see.
That's kind of, and I was rewatching The Sopranos in that little lull where everything wasn't coming, and then all these shows showed up. I can't remember right now because you can't remember half the stuff you digest. As soon as you digest it, it's like it's gone.
I know. I try to watch the comedies first. So this Ted Danson has a new show.
Inside Man saw it in 2 days.
Yeah,
burned through it. Anything Ted Danson's in.
Right.
Ted Danson and Curb Your Enthusiasm is the best.
It is.
Playing that smarmy little asshole is just such a pleasure.
He's playing the dickhead version of Ted Danson.
He's so good at doing that, and he looks like he's having so much fun.
Yeah,
because he's notoriously the nicest guy in showbiz.
Have you listened to his podcast?
No.
Oh, you've got to do this. It's Ted Danson at 75 or 6, and he's so completely there and emotional, and the discussions he has, it's moving.
Okay, cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah. Allan, I got to let you go.
That's too bad. I could talk to you all day.
I know. We're having fun. Hopefully we'll do this again soon, but congratulations. It's a great achievement. Saint-Pierre starts January
6th, Monday night, right after Murdoch Mysteries.
Oh, that's not a bad time slot.
No,
Thank you, Christina Jennings.
It's a gift on all fronts, yeah, for sure.
Thanks once again to Allan Hawco, and check out Saint-Pierre Monday nights on CBC and CBC Gem. Thanks as always to producer Phil Hong. Kudos as well to BJ Del Conte, Paul Boudra, Steve Dudley, and the Crispy Critters for the music heard on this podcast. Finally, thanks to you, listener. Please spread the word if you liked what you heard. I'm Bill Brio. Thanks for listening.